What's going on, fellas? I'm out here today, first day of the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Messing with the Cummins motor again, of course. Just a little progress at a time. And what I'm doing today is the front timing cover gasket. I've got to check out the crank, and I'm going to address the killer dowel pin. If you've never heard of it, if you're not familiar with the 12-valve Cummins, they have a dowel pin inside the timing cover that locates the cover to the block that likes to rattle out and get caught between the gears, the timing gears, and bust the case. So yeah, anyway, I've got all the bolts out, and I wanted to show you there. Of course, you got to have your nice magnetic tray here, and there's long bolts and short bolts. Okay, you can't really mix up the two when you go back together with it, because as you can see the threads where the short bolts go and where the long bolts go. You can't. See, like here, this one's short, this is short, this is long, and the reason for that is some of these bolts go all the way through the timing cover into the block, and some of these just bolt the cover to the gear case. So, from Ford, this cover is RTV siliconed on. See that? Most other companies used a gasket on this, and I've got a gasket to go back on it. But unfortunately, what I don't have, and I thought I did have, is a front main crank seal. You know, I was given a bunch of parts, which I'm not complaining about, but the front and rear main seals I was given actually are for an 8.3 liter. They're too big. I got to looking at that rear main seal with the wear sleeve, and it's not meant for the 5.9. And the front seal I have for this, I just stuck it up there to look at it and match it up, and it's way too big. Then you look up the numbers on them, and they're for an 8.3. So anyway, let's pull this off. See if we can break it loose. We can get it rotating, and then we'll work it off. There we go. And I'm honestly not going to complain about the silicone, however you want to say it, usage from Ford. They use this gray Motorcraft silicone, and from what I understand, it's actually a really good sealant. So I don't know when the last time this timing cover was gone into was, or if it ever has been. But I'm thinking this probably did come from Cummins to Ford with a gasket, and at some point the timing cover was taken off, and the Ford dealer reused gray silicone to put it back together. And it was leaking. There was some evidence of seepage here and there, but no drastic leaks. And it's actually coming off fairly clean. So we'll see how easy it is to get off the cover. Oh, wait a minute. There is a gasket there. Yep, okay. So they use silicone and gasket. Oh well. To be honest with you, I've only been in the front of a Cummins one other time than this, and it was doing a front crank seal at an automotive shop I worked at years ago, and that's probably been 8 or 10 years ago that I did it. So you know, I can't tell you that I'm going to be 100% accurate on everything I'm telling you until I get to it. So if I say something improper or incorrect, please don't berate me too badly. I'm somewhat learning as I go here. Anyway, okay, this is the killer dowel pin right here. You know what? Let me get some light, because this is important. And while the lighting isn't that bad, it's not that great either. So, alright. Killer dowel pin to the left, and the case bolt to the right. That killer dowel pin actually has worked itself out. It should be below flush in that case. So yeah, I'm glad I decided to check this and not just leave it. So let's see just how far out it came. Yeah, that should work. Now, doing this with one hand is going to be interesting. Let's see. Okay, so it's not loose enough that I can just push it in. So that's good, I guess. Shit. Hang on just a second. I gotta set this down. It's probably gonna be annoying on the video, but bear with me. Shit. Watch me drop the camera. It's moving. All right. Kind of hard to see, but see how it's, well, okay, looking at it in person here, it's easy to tell, but looking at the screen, it's actually very difficult to tell, but it is now below flush. And I wish I hadn't dinged that up. It looks worse on camera than it is, but the end of that punch is kind of sharp-ish. Not a huge deal. It's just a solid steel dowel pin. But the way you address this is you can either buy a KDP tab from some of your online aftermarket diesel parts suppliers. Like Power Driven Diesel, they carry them. Thoroughbred Diesel, Diesel Power Products. Everybody carries it. Everyone that services or makes parts for 12 valves carries a KDP tab, all right? So you can buy one. They're $14 to $30 if you want to spend that. Or you can just take a small piece of steel and drill a hole in it and shape it. And what it does is it goes under this bolt and just covers the dowel pin, okay? So really easy to make on your own if you want to. Or just buy it and put it on. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be real thick. You can use a piece of sheet metal, piece of 1/8 inch steel, a piece of aluminum, whatever. And all you got to do is make sure that it covers this and the bolt goes through it. And when you put the bolt back in, clean the bore out with, clean the bolt hole out with brake cleaner, dry it out with compressed air, and then use a bit of red Loctite on the bolt. Same thing with the other case bolts. There are some, like here, there's 2 case bolts, one right here behind the gear and one right about here, I think. The oil pump bolts, if you want to, while you're in here, take them out, clean them, Loctite them, put them back. And there's a couple of others I thought. Maybe not. Anyway, it's a good idea to go through and clean out and Loctite all your internal case bolts so they don't rattle out and get into the gears and destroy shit over time. That's what most people are doing nowadays. These motors are getting old enough that people are starting to see failures like that. So as long as you've got the stuff off, good idea to go ahead and do it. Now, the reason I pulled this off today, even though I don't have the front main, is I wanted to see the condition of the crank so I know if I need to get a wear sleeve or not. And of course there goes the compressor, which I do not need on right now. So let's go turn it off. Yep. Alright. You know what? 3M red scuff pad just for a little bit of light cleaning. Where's my brake cleaner? Right there. So let's see if we need a wear sleeve or not. A little bit of rust and stuff on here is from the motor sitting up and out in the weather. Really? So, I encourage you to check this yourself if you're going into a 12 valve too, before you go and buy an $80 crank seal. Yeah, there's no wear on here that I can catch with a fingernail, so I should be good with a regular standard type crank seal. And I'll have to clean up this rust ring off the inside, or the outside edge, because I don't want to damage the new seal when it's going on. Anyway, not super important probably, but yeah, anyway. So that's what I'm doing. Tomorrow I'll run down and get all the parts I need. Actually went and made a list of what I gotta get. I gotta get exhaust manifold bolts, oil cooler gasket, front and rear main seal, and the gasket for the rear main retainer plate. Valve cover gaskets, tappet cover. I need to see if I can get an overhaul kit for the lift pump. I'm not sure if I can, but I'd like to overhaul it instead of replacing it if I can. I got to get the air compressor to timing cover gasket, or gear case gasket, water pump gasket, intake elbow gasket, and timing cover plug. And what I mean by that is this right here. The industrial motors had just a solid round plug that would screw into there. Because I'm not going to need that oil filler now since I've got the industrial oil filler cap up there. So I want to do away with that. Otherwise, I'm good to go. So just want to give you guys an update, show you what I'm working on today and tomorrow, and not leave you guys out in the dark too long on this. So I'm gonna pick up some more paint too while I'm at it. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this is a little helpful information to you. If you got any questions, post them in the comments. I'll get back to you. And please like the video if you liked the video and found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.